Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. A couple other games. The first game that I want to talk to, it's kind of funny. I didn't even talk about it on the college football betting show because coming into LSU, Florida, you kind of felt like, okay, this was once upon a time a great rivalry, but Florida isn't very good. And even as of like mid last week, we didn't even know if Jaden Daniels was going to play in this game. And so we didn't really talk about it on the Wednesday preview show. We didn't really talk about it on the Friday preview show. And so it wasn't, I don't want to say it wasn't on my radar. It's always a big game. But then the game happened. And we got to talk about LSU, Florida, because here's why. Jaden Daniels literally had one of the best games in college football history. And I know I'm one for hyperbole, and I know I go crazy talking about stuff sometimes, but it isn't hyperbole to say that Jaden Daniels had one of the best games in college football history as LSU beats the Florida Gators 52-35. Let's break in. Let's dive it down. By the way, we'll talk about the Heisman race in a minute because I think if you're arguing for anyone other than Jaden Daniels, you're in the wrong. We'll get to that momentarily. But as far as this game is concerned, listen, Jaden Daniels was, I mean, there is no word to describe it. Unbelievable. I was watching the game and I was sitting there thinking, I think this is the best performance I've ever seen in my life. I watched Lamar Jackson. I watched Cam Newton. I watched Johnny Manziel. I think this is the best thing I've ever seen. And you don't want to get caught up in the moment. And then the game goes final and you realize, oh my God, that might have been the best performance we've ever seen. Jaden Daniels finishes the game. I know most people know the stats by now, but let me read them off to you in case you did not know. Jaden Daniels, the LSU quarterback, he finishes this game. How about this? 17 of 26 passing for 372 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's pretty good. That's a career game in and of itself. But how about this? He also had 234 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns as well. So 372 yards passing, 234 yards rushing, over 600 yards of total offense by himself, 5 touchdowns. He became the first player ever in FBS history to account for 350 passing yards, 250 rushing yards. Again, don't mean to go over the top here, but Tim Tebow never did it. Cam Newton never did it. Johnny Manziel never did it. Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, go through the great dual threat quarterbacks that can beat you with your arms and your legs. None of them ever did what Jaden Daniels did on Saturday night. And again, watching that game, I don't feel like it's hyperbolic to say it was the best performance I've ever seen. Statistically, it was certainly one of the greatest of all time. More importantly, though, and this is the conversation that I think is coming out, Jaden Daniels should be your Heisman Trophy favorite right now, this second, okay? And I would say this, the Heisman feels not only wide open, doesn't really feel like there are obvious candidates. To me, it feels like Bo Nix at Oregon is right in the short conversation. I feel like Michael Penix at Washington is. I don't think you should dismiss Jaden Daniels, though. And as a matter of fact, I think Jaden Daniels should be the favorite as of this second. Bottom line, first of all, I know what everyone's going to say. Well, they've lost 3 games. And what have I said since that? I think I said it in the Missouri game. It was the last week of September, first week of October. I said point blank, I don't care if they've already lost 2 games, and I don't care now with Alabama that they lost 3. Because without Jaden Daniels, they would have lost at least 1 or 2 more. Missouri probably could have and maybe should have lost if it wasn't for Jaden Daniels. They beat Arkansas by 3, 34-31 is the final score. They barely survive, in other spots. And so you look at them. Yeah, they're a 3-loss team. They'd probably be a 4 or 5-loss team without him. And beyond that, the stats, when you really break them down, they are insane. Okay. So here are the stats that you need to know about Jaden Daniels. I'm just going to read them off to you. Okay. Jaden Daniels, here are the stats. He's number 1 in the country in passing touchdowns, 30 touchdown passes. He's number 3 in passing yards in all of college football. It's worth noting one of the guys ahead of him, Caleb Williams, has played 1 more game than him. So that's important. Number 7 in completion percentage. So top 10 nationally in touchdown passes, passing yards, and completion percentage. Here's the crazy part. He's also the 3rd leading rusher in the SEC. Of every running back, wide receiver, quarterback, if you will, if you want to, whatever. Anyone who has ever touched a football in the SEC this season, he's third in rushing as a quarterback. He's in the top 35 nationally in rushing. The only quarterback in the top 35 nationally is actually like 26th, 27th overall. You want some context? He's got 918 yards rushing. So he's almost at 1,000 yards rushing. You want some context to show you how crazy this is? Jalen Milroe, the Alabama quarterback, we all agree, great dual threat guy, can beat you with your arms and his legs. Jalen Milroe has 333 yards rushing this year, as in a third of what Jaden Daniels has, excuse me. And so I don't want to go on and on, but to me, when I look at this, the Heisman is supposed to be about the best individual player in college football. Well, we've had guys on 2 and 3 and 4 loss teams win it before that aren't in the national championship hunt. Johnny Manziel won it with 2 losses at A&M. Who else? Tim Tebow won it with 3 losses at Florida. Lamar Jackson won it with 3 losses at Louisville. At the end of the day, this is the award for the most outstanding player in college football. Not the best player on the best team. Jaden Daniels, to me, has been the most outstanding player so far this season. Now, could it change? If Bo Nix runs the table, if Bo Nix beats Michael Penix head-to-head, if Michael Penix beats Bo Nix for a second time, I think those guys are in the conversation. But right now, I think Jaden Daniels should be your favorite for the Heisman.